Hey, this is Serena. I know it's been a while since I did a video, but I wanted to talk today about self-sabotage and conflicting parts. So to you, somebody you know, or maybe a client even, just seems to be caught in a cycle of self-sabotage. They take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Well, it's because they have different parts of their psyche that are kind of battling it out inside. So let me tell you a little story to explain what I mean by this. So what's important to know is that every part of us, even if they're really naughty, or if we would judge them as being very pesky or annoying and they just keep doing that thing that we wish they didn't do, has a positive intention. So let me give you a couple examples. Now imagine that there's a girl who's in 2nd grade and she's really nervous about taking a test. So she starts biting her nails. And so part of her psyche goes, oh, I'm in charge of stress management and I know how to help with that. Have her bite her nails. And it works for a while. But now if you fast forward 20 years and now she's a high-power lawyer and she just can't stop biting her nails, it's very unprofessional. It's very embarrassing. And now this part of her that's supposed to be helping her deal with stress, the behavior is actually stressing her out. And so she feels stressed. When she's not thinking about her nails, that part of her brain goes, oh, I perceive stress. I must help. I know how to do that. Have her bite her nails. It just kind of snowballs like this and keeps going. So there's a part of her that wants to bite her nails because it's making her do it. And there's a part of her that really doesn't want her to bite her nails. And they are in conflict. Now by separating out the intention from the behavior, that's really key because, of course, there's a lot of ways to deal with stress. There's not just biting your nails. That's only one way. But the problem is that these parts of our psyche get confused, or they only have one tool in their toolbox, and they think that's the only way to achieve this positive intention or positive emotional state. Now let me give you a slightly less benign example that we might judge a little bit more. So imagine that there's a junior high kid, and he's fat and he's pimply, and all the kids, the boys bully him and the girls make fun of him and nobody wants to be his friend. And you think he might have a few self-esteem issues, you think he might feel left out, not feel very good about himself. Of course, anyone would. Now fast forward his life a few years and he's in college. He thins out, he buffs out, he gets really handsome, and now all of a sudden he's Mr. Popular. They want him to go to the parties, and the girls, you know, might take him home a night or two. So this part of his psyche that wants self-esteem, to feel a connection, to feel included, has figured out one way to do that. Go to parties and take girls home. So we would judge the behavior perhaps, or maybe not, in this situation because he's single, but still the key and component is that the true positive intention is always that emotional payoff. Feeling accepted, feeling significant, feeling like you're getting some love and affection and attention. So now this part of him wants fun and excitement and get attention, feel important. But there's another part of him that wants more than that. It wants security and love. And that part may get into a relationship with a girl. And everything's going great. And the love and security part's like, oh, this is great. But 6 months down the road, maybe they get in a fight, or maybe things aren't going well at work. There's some other stressors with bills. And he's not feeling very good in general. And that other little part's like, well, I know what would be fun. I know what would cheer you up and make you feel good. And it'll have him go out and drink and maybe even take a girl home. Now that's pretty easy to see the conflict there. You can't really maintain an intimate relationship with love and security if you're doing things like taking girls home. And it'd be very easy to judge someone's behavior in this situation as what a jerk. But if we can really separate those out, that the intention is different, separate from the behavior, it's just that the mind is confused and think that's the only way to achieve that positive intention. So we get to re-educate the mind and let it know that there's a lot of ways to feel that good feeling, not just the one way that's sabotaging our life. This can be the guy that gets a job, then starts calling in sick and gets fired. The relationship we already explained. There's so many areas of our life We may succeed, and then a part of us doesn't feel worthy or guilty, and will sabotage that success. It comes in 1,000 different ways. So how do we resolve this? Well, let me tell you a little story. There's an NLP process that works, and it's going to be very useful if you have clients, if you're a life coach, or even in your personal life. If you see these patterns of self-sabotage, these NLP techniques work really quick and really effectively. But let me tell you a little story about how we bring these two together. So imagine that there's two brothers that inherit a farm, and they both want the farm. It's important to them. It's been in the family for over 100 years. And one wants to modernize, and one wants to keep things traditional. So the one that wants to modernize thinks his brother's an idiot, like, we can't compete if we don't modernize. And the one that wants to keep things traditional thinks his brother's a sellout. And so they spend the next 20 years fighting it out. They waste their time, their money, their resources, and the farm eventually fails. Now, if they have been able to really come together and realize, you know, yes, we disagree on this level of how we're going to do it, but at that higher level, our intention is the same. We want the farm to succeed. And then they could have actually come together and pooled their time, money, resources, and energy and ideas, and the farm could have been a success. So what we help these parts see is that on that higher level, they actually want the same thing for you. It's just that their way of going about it may seem completely opposite or in conflict. So when you can help your client or yourself get your unconscious mind working, all parts working together for you moving forward rather than that push me, pull you situation, it's going to be much easier to get effects in your life, gain success, and stop that cycle of self-sabotage. So I hope that this was helpful, and you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.